They really thought Cody Rhodes could just stand in the middle of WWE SmackDown, soak in the cheers, smile for the cameras, and walk away untouched. But then Jon Moxley opened his mouth, and suddenly the entire WWE universe felt like it was sitting on a powder keg ready to explode. Because this wasn't just trash talk. This was a warning. Moxley's message cut deeper than a chair shot to the spine. No entrance music, no fancy words. Just raw venom aimed straight at Cody Rhodes' legacy, his ego, and everything he claims to represent. Moxley didn't talk like a man chasing gold, he talked like a man who wanted to tear down a symbol. And here's the part that should make you mad. Moxley basically said Cody didn't earn his crown, that the American nightmare was built on polished speeches and fan-friendly moments, while real pain, real sacrifice, and real blood were shed by people like him. Do you agree with that, or is Moxley crossing the line just to stay relevant? Drop a quick yes or no in the comments. The tension skyrocketed the moment Moxley referenced their shared past. He reminded everyone that he didn't run from the fire, he became it. While Cody left to rewrite his story, Moxley stayed behind and embraced chaos. That line alone felt like a slap across Cody's face. And SmackDown didn't feel like a wrestling show anymore, it felt like a confrontation waiting to turn violent. Here's a simple question. Who do you think WWE fans trust more, the polished hero or the unpredictable outlaw? Moxley's tone wasn't loud. That's what made it terrifying. Calm, cold, almost disappointed. He talked like a man who's already decided how the story ends. He accused Cody of playing the role WWE needed, instead of being the man WWE feared. And if you listened closely, you could hear the anger bubbling underneath every word. Then came the line that set social media on fire. Moxley didn't say he wanted Cody's title. He said he wanted to expose him. That's not competition, that's destruction. Think about it. When was the last time someone talked about Cody Rhodes like he was fragile? Like everything he built could collapse with one wrong step. Moxley planted that doubt in everyone's mind, and that might be the most dangerous move of all. Quick poll for you. If this turns into a match, should it be no disqualification or steel cage? Cody, for all his confidence, suddenly feels cornered. Because how do you fight someone who doesn't care about winning? Someone who only cares about making a point. Moxley thrives in chaos, and SmackDown felt like it was barely containing him. One wrong look, one wrong word, and the whole show could have gone off the rails. And that's why this message hit so hard. It wasn't scripted fluff. It felt personal. Moxley reminded everyone that he doesn't need approval, doesn't need cheers, and definitely doesn't need permission. He's coming whether Cody's ready or not. And when that bell rings, respect won't matter, only survival will. So let me ask you this, and be honest. Is Cody Rhodes prepared for this version of Jon Moxley? Because if Moxley meant every word, and it sure sounded like he did, then SmackDown didn't just witness a promo. It witnessed the start of something ugly, violent, and unforgettable. And if you think this story is ending peacefully, you haven't been paying attention, because the scariest part of Moxley's message wasn't what he said next. It was what he didn't say. He never promised a fair fight. He never promised rules. And he never promised Cody would walk out on his own 2 feet. That silence spoke volumes. Moxley leaned into the idea that Cody has become untouchable, protected by spotlight, contracts, and crowd reactions. And that's exactly what made the message so brutal. Moxley positioned himself as the one man willing to ruin the fairy tale. The one man willing to drag Cody into deep water and see if he can actually swim without the crowd cheering him on. Let me throw this at you. Do you think WWE is building Cody as too perfect, or is that exactly why this feud works? The more Moxley talked, the more it felt like he was daring Cody to snap. To drop the suit, drop the speeches, and fight like his career depended on it. And here's the uncomfortable truth: Moxley thrives when things get uncomfortable. Cody, that remains to be seen. Moxley even hinted that Cody's greatest weakness isn't his body, it's his need to be loved. That line hit like a brick. Because if there's one thing Jon Moxley has never needed, it's validation. He survives on chaos, and SmackDown felt like it was seconds away from turning into a war zone. Quick comment check. Who cracks first in this feud, Cody's patience or Moxley's restraint? What makes this rivalry terrifying is that it doesn't feel like it's about championships anymore. It feels like pride, legacy, identity. Moxley isn't chasing gold, he's chasing the truth behind the image. And once that door is opened, it can never be closed again. Imagine the first time they finally stand face to face. No music, no crowd noise drowning it out. Just tension thick enough to cut with a knife. You already know Moxley won't blink. The question is, will Cody? Because if Cody wants to prove he's more than a symbol, more than a marketing dream, he's going to have to step into Moxley's world. And nobody walks out of that world unchanged. Last question before you scroll. Does this feud end with a handshake or someone being carried out? One thing is clear: SmackDown won't be the same after this. Jon Moxley didn't just send a message, he declared war. And whether you love Cody Rhodes or you're rooting for chaos, you're going to be watching until the very end. And here's where things get even more unsettling. Because the more you replay Moxley's words, the more it feels like he already knows something Cody doesn't. Like he's seen behind the curtain and isn't impressed by what's holding it up. Moxley didn't insult Cody's skills, he insulted his foundation. He questioned whether Cody's rise is built on resilience or convenience. That's dangerous. Ask yourself this. When pressure hits its peak, who do you trust more, the man who bleeds for the fight, or the man who inspires with words? Moxley painted Cody as a man standing on a mountain built by others, while he clawed his way up through broken glass and fire. And whether you agree or not, that comparison sticks. Fans started debating instantly. That's how you know the message landed. This wasn't noise, this was a spark. What makes it worse is that Cody didn't respond. Not yet. And silence in WWE is never accidental. That silence gives Moxley power. It lets his words echo, spread, and rot in the minds of the fans. Every cheer Cody gets now comes with a question mark attached. Every smile feels just a little forced. That's psychological warfare at its finest. Quick one for the comments. Should Cody respond with a promo or answer Moxley with his fists? Moxley also hinted that SmackDown is just the beginning. That this isn't about one night, one show, or one moment. This is about rewriting how Cody Rhodes is viewed when the smoke clears. Because Moxley doesn't want to beat Cody, he wants to change him. Think back to every great WWE rivalry. The ones we still talk about years later weren't built on titles alone. They were built on resentment. On the feeling that two men simply cannot coexist in the same ring. That's exactly the energy brewing here. And let's be honest, if this turns physical, it won't be pretty. Moxley's style is ugly, brutal, relentless. He doesn't wrestle to entertain, he wrestles to punish. Cody, on the other hand, thrives on moments. Big fights, big stakes, big reactions. That clash of philosophies might be the most explosive part of this whole thing. Another quick debate. Who benefits more from chaos, Moxley or WWE? Because chaos sells. And Moxley is chaos personified. The WWE universe is split right down the middle. Some see Moxley as the truth teller, calling out what others are afraid to say. Others see him as a bitter force trying to tear down the face of the company. Either way, he's got everyone talking, and that's exactly what he wants. And don't forget, Moxley thrives when people doubt him. When the odds stack up, when the system pushes back, that's when he becomes the most dangerous. If Cody underestimates that, this feud could spiral out of control fast. Picture this: lights low, crowd buzzing, Cody standing in the ring waiting, and Moxley storms out. Not to pose, not to talk, just to fight. No warning, no build-up, just violence. That's the energy Moxley injected into SmackDown with that message alone. Final question for you, and this one matters. If this feud had one winner, who walks out changed forever? Because one thing is certain, this isn't ending quietly. Someone's image will crack, someone's pride will shatter, and when it's all over, SmackDown will have crossed a line it can't uncross. Drop your thoughts, argue your side, and share this video if you felt even a fraction of that tension. Jon Moxley didn't just send a brutal message to Cody Rhodes. He dared him to survive what comes next. And the longer Cody waits, the louder that dare becomes. Because in WWE, hesitation is weakness, and Jon Moxley smells it. He framed Cody's silence as fear without ever using the word. He let the audience connect the dots themselves, and that might be the most ruthless tactic of all. When fans start questioning their hero, the damage is already done. Let me ask you something real quick. Is Cody staying quiet because he's being strategic, or because Moxley struck a nerve? Moxley's message also carried another layer that people aren't talking about enough: the locker room. When a guy like Jon Moxley speaks, other wrestlers listen. Not because they like him, but because they respect what he's willing to do. That kind of respect can shift momentum behind the scenes, and suddenly Cody isn't just defending his reputation against one man, he's defending it against doubt. And doubt spreads fast. Moxley positioned himself as the measuring stick, the test Cody has never truly taken. Big matches? Cody's had plenty. Pressure moments? No shortage. But this is different. This is about surviving someone who doesn't care about optics, brand value, or main event smiles. Someone who would gladly lose if it meant Cody suffered more. Quick comment challenge. Who do you think WWE secretly wants fans to side with here, the face of the company or the agent of chaos? Because make no mistake, this rivalry is walking a tightrope. If Cody fights back too clean, Moxley wins the mental game. If Cody sinks to Moxley's level, he risks becoming the very thing Moxley accused him of pretending to be better than. That's the trap, and it's brilliantly set. You could feel it on SmackDown. The crowd wasn't just reacting, they were choosing sides in real time. Every cheer, every boo, every murmur carried weight. That's when you know something special is brewing. And here's the scariest possibility of all. What if Moxley is right? What if Cody has never faced someone with nothing to lose and everything to prove? Someone who doesn't want his spot, just wants to prove it doesn't belong to him. That kind of opponent doesn't just test your strength, they test your identity. Another quick one. If this feud headlines a major event, should it be story-driven or straight-up violence? Because either way, the fallout will be massive. Moxley ended his message like a man walking away from a crime scene, slow, deliberate, confident that the damage was already done. No threats, no countdown, just the implication that what's coming can't be avoided. That's the kind of energy that keeps fans glued, replaying every word, dissecting every pause. And now, all eyes are on Cody. His next move will define this entire story. One promo could flip the narrative, one brawl could ignite a war, or one wrong choice could prove Moxley's message was never a bluff, it was a prophecy. So before this explodes any further, I want your final take. Does Cody conquer the chaos, or does Jon Moxley expose the nightmare? Because SmackDown didn't just host a moment, it planted a seed. And when that seed grows, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be loud, divisive, and unforgettable. Make sure your opinion is heard in the comments, share this with a fellow wrestling fan, and buckle up. Because if Jon Moxley has his way, this is only the beginning. Comment your thoughts, argue with each other, and share this with someone who thinks Cody walks away clean. Because the storm is coming and Jon Moxley just lit the fuse.